Hello boys, welcome back to another session of video tutorials, and this session is meant for class 12th biology students, and this is for 6th January 2021. As you all know, we are into the revision mode. We are revising the entire syllabus after having completed the syllabus, and as part of the revision program, for all the chapters I have trained you how to answer assertion and reasoning. We have completed all the chapters in assertion and reasoning, and I would like to remind you that there will be 4 marks for assertion and reasoning. And then there is case study questions. That case study questions will be covered in this. So based on the case study questions, there are 4 plus 4, 8 marks. So totally in section A, there will be 10 1-mark questions which will come from this, plus 4 marks assertion and reasoning, 10 plus 4, 14, plus you got 8 marks of case study. That is 4 plus 4. That means 10 plus 4 plus 8. Totally 22 marks. So this revision of important question answers will help you to get maximum marks, or if you are a bit focused, you will get 22 out of 22 in section A. That is our aim. With that in the background, let's move on to chapter number 13, organisms and populations. Now let me go through the questions first, followed by answers. Question number 1. Which of the following will not be considered as predator? Vultures, paramecium, starfish and tigers. Of course, you know the answer. It has to be vultures. Why vultures? Vultures live because they eat dead and decay. They eat the dead and decay, so they don't hunt the live animals. So the prey will not be live. The prey is a dead one. That's why it should be vulture. Question 2. At high altitudes, our body compensates for deficiency of oxygen by A. Decreasing rate of breathing, B. Reducing the rate of respiration within cells, C. Increasing white blood cell production, D. Reducing affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen binding. I think again the answer should be D, because the affinity of hemoglobin with oxygen makes oxyhemoglobin. But as a person starts going at high altitudes, there will be deficiency of oxygen, and as a compensation, the affinity, if it is reduced between hemoglobin and oxygen, that oxyhemoglobin breaks, the free oxygen is available to the person. This is the logic behind this. So the answer has to be D for this. Question 3. Shrew, rat and rabbit living together in a grassland exhibit commensalism, B. Commensalism, C. Mutualism, and D. Neutralism. It has to be again D. Answer D. Neutralism. The reason being that all these animals mentioned, they live happily in the grassland without harming each other. Hence, it has to be neutralism. And I have told you that based on this relationship among the animals, this commensalism, mutualism, there will be lot many questions, and case study question also may come in the examination. So have the clear concept about commensalism, mutualism and neutralism. Question 4. Organisms having the potential for interbreeding and producing fertile offspring is called class, genus, order. Of course, again answer D. It has to be species, because interbreeding. Question 5. The statistical study of human population is called population human genetics. There is no genetics here. Sociology, that's different. Demography, yes, this should be the answer, demography, because you also studied in social studies. Demographic studies means population studies. And D is biostatistics. That's different. Hence answer has to be C. Question 6. Which one out of eurythermal or stenothermal species is likely to survive increased global temperature? Now here thermal, thermos means temperature. So the Answer should be based on the adaptations. Question 7. How do animals like fish and snails avoid summer related unfavorable conditions? Again, the question is based on adaptations. Question 8. Why are herbivores considered similar to predators in the iconological context? Explain. Again, the role of herbivores here, and what is the relationship between the herbivores and the predators. Question number 9. Why do cattle avoid browsing on calotropis plants? Explain. Again, it is self-defense, adaptation, calotropis plants. And question 10, it's based on the graph, population exponential graph. What does S-shaped pattern of population growth represent? How is a T-shaped pattern different from it and why? So here we are going to talk about the exponential growth of the population and the limited growth of the population and compare graphically. Okay, recollect the graph that we have drawn in our regular video tutorials. Question number 11, define population and communities. This is a knowledge-based question. Just you have to write definition of the population and community. Question number 12, egrets are often seen along with grazing cattle. How do you refer to this interaction? Give reason. I think based on your observation, you have to give the answer for this. You must have seen a white colored bird with a long beak sitting on buffalo or a cow and moving along the plains or along the grasslands. And you know that the bird catches the worms that are uprooted by the footprints of the cattle, or sometimes lice will be there in the skin of the animals, so those lice will be eaten off. So that is the relationship here. Question 13, define phenotypic adaptation. Phenotype, remember the genetics chapter, physical appearance of an individual is called phenotypic. What are the physical adaptations? I give one example. Of course, again, climbing the mountains, that can be the physical one, or doing a hard exercise. And to begin with, it will be very difficult, but physically we will adapt to that hard exercise. Like many of you do push-ups. Initially, doing 10 push-ups itself is very, very difficult. But as you do continuously, your body gets adapted, your muscles become strong, your bones become strong, and even doing 100 push-ups is not a difficult problem. So that is the phenotypic adaptation. Question number 14. Why is thermoregulation, temperature regulation, more effectively achieved in larger animals than in smaller ones? Here it is the volume of the animal, whether big animal or small animal, versus surface area. Okay. Question number 15. Write a short note on effect of temperature or water scarcity and the adaptations of animals. How animals can overcome the temperatures. What are the adaptations that animals can take? Similarly, when water scarcity is there in a place like deserts, how animals will be undergoing adaptations to overcome water scarcity. Again, the question is related to adaptations. Now let us see the answers. As I said already, question number A has to be A, vultures. Vultures will not be considered as predator. What is the reason? Vultures feed on dead animals, I told you already. On the other hand, predators kill or harm the prey for obtaining food. Question 2, it has to be D, reducing affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen binding. Explanation, at higher altitudes, concentration of oxygen decreases in the air due to decrease in air pressure. Our body compensates the deficiency of oxygen at higher altitude by reducing affinity of hemoglobin for oxygen binding. So that is the reason why it has to be answer D. Question 3, again answer has to be D. As I said, neutralism. Neutralism is a kind of relationship in which different organisms live in same habitat but do not harm each other. Shrew, rat and rabbit lives in same grassland but they don't compete for food and shelter. So there is no intra-fight in this neutralism. And question number 4, D, species. A species is a group of individual organisms that interbreed and produce fertile. I said the clue word is interbreed. The interbreed is the characteristic of a species. And of course, it produces viable offspring. According to this definition, one species is distinguished from another when in nature it is not possible for matings between individuals from each species to produce fertile offsprings. And of course, question number 5, I said C, demography. Explanation: the statistical study of human population in a particular area that changes over time and space is called demography. So, it includes size, growth, density, distribution, and vital statistics. Hence, question number 5, answer has to be C. And then question number 6, I said thermos, temperature. Eurythermal species are those species that can tolerate and thrive in a wide range of temperatures. Okay, they can survive in vast range, like desert animals. Daytime it shoots up to 50-60 degrees centigrade, nighttime it falls down to 8 to 10 degrees centigrade. So the animals living in the desert have the adaptation to go or increase their body temperature in the morning to the tune with the existing temperature, surrounding temperature, and night times the body comes down in the temperature to the existing temperature. That's why we say eurythermal. Question 7, snails, fish go into estivation. What is estivation? Yes, summer sleep, sleeping of animals during the entire period of summer. Why? What for? To avoid summer-related unfavorable conditions by suspending their metabolic activities. So when they are sleeping, naturally metabolic activities will come down. When metabolic activities come down, rate of metabolism comes down. When rate of metabolism comes down, a lot of food will be saved in the form of fats, and those fats will be gradually utilized for the entire duration of summer. Hence, this is an adaptation. Question number 8. Herbivores are considered similar to predators in iconological context because they transfer the energy fixed by the plants to the next tropic level of carnivores. In that pyramid of organisms, we have got at the base herbivores. Of course, first one should have the autotrophs, and in that herbivores, then carnivores. So here, they also maintain the plant population under control. You just imagine if herbivores are removed. I told you during regular video tutorials, in a forest, if you remove all the rabbits, all the deers, all the herbivores, okay, what will happen? Naturally, the animals, carnivores such as say cheetah, lion, tiger, they will not have food at all. So in due course, they die without food. And herbivores are not there, carnivores are not there. Naturally, what flourishes is the plant population. So how to check that plant population? There has to be herbivores. Next, question number 9, again, it is the self-defense. Calotropis produces highly poisonous cardiac glycosides that make the herbivore sick when eaten, inhibit feeding or digestion, and disrupts its reproduction or even kill the herbivore. Hence, it is not browsed by cattle. So, even it can kill the animal if it browses. Question number 10. S-shaped pattern represents logistic growth. If you recollect from your memory, we plotted a graph, x-axis, y-axis, and if the population versus density, area-wise, we have said, if the graph is of S-shaped, then it represents logistic growth. If it is, say, straight, shooting up straight, then we say it is unlimited growth. The populations are ever expanding. And the population growth is an exponential or geometric fashion and results in T-shaped curve. Next, I said knowledge-based questions, just a definition. Population is the collection of interbreeding organisms of a particular species. And community, in biological terms, a community is a group of interacting organisms or different shapes sharing an environment. Now, question number 12. We said relationships, commensalism. So commensalism, as I said, you must have seen that egret birds, sitting on top of the body of a cow, buffalo, or in general cattle, and as the cow and cattle move, they, because of their footprints, some of the insects that are there in the soil will come out. So these egret birds, utilizing that opportunity, will eat off. So egret birds are getting the benefit of food free of cost. That is plus. Whereas the animals like buffaloes and cows, they have neither benefit nor harm. So it is plus and zero. The relationship is plus and zero. Whenever there is a plus and zero, that is commensalism. Thus, egrets are benefited while the cattle are neither benefited nor harmed. Question number 13. Phenotypic adaptations are acquired non-genetic changes in individuals such as physiological modification, acclimatization, or behavioral changes. For example, if a person has ever been to any high altitude, on visiting such as place, he or she must have altitude sickness because body does not get enough oxygen. But gradually he or she gets acclimatized and stop experiencing altitude sickness. So the body is getting used. Question number 14. Heat loss or heat gain is the function of a surface area. Since small animals have larger surface area relative to their volume, they lose body heat very fast. But larger animals have a ratio of surface area to volume of the body much smaller compared to small animals, and hence thermoregulation in them is more effective. So it is the question of surface area to volume. So larger animals have been having the benefit, whereas smaller animals having less area will not be at advantage. They are at disadvantage. And finally, question number 15. Effect of temperature or water scarcity and adaptations of animals. So high temperature and water scarcity means that an animal living in those conditions has to preserve as much water as possible. Naturally, most of the animals do this by developing hard scaly skin. See, look at the adaptation. Hard scaly skin that prevents water loss. Further, most of the animals living in dry conditions use uricotelic mode of excretion. What do you mean by uricotelic? The passage of waste material in the form of uric acid. Remember aminotelic, urotelic, and uricotelic, class 11th, previous class. This helps in preventing further water loss. Many exothermic animals from reptilian thrive in high temperature because they regulate their body temperature by exothermic means. So this is how we need to answer and possibly prepare ourselves to answer that section A perfectly in the board exam. We will see next chapter in the next session. Until then,